Welcome to Magnificent Living Today. Are you living a life of optimal health? Do you want to make changes in your life? Do you need help setting and achieving goals? Are you ready to reform and reshape your mind, body, and spirit? Are you looking for more balance in your life? Many of us are thinking about starting a better lifestyle program, both for ourselves and or our family. We all know how difficult it can be to motivate others when we ourselves are not motivated. Sometimes we all need a little help reaching our goals. And that's why Magnificent Living Today is here for you.
Hi, my name is Oliver Wilford, and usually you see me on my own show, FYI Laurel. But today I have the privilege of being on the set of Magnificent Living Today with Carl Powell and Jennifer Frazier. Carl is fast becoming a fixture on Laurel TV, and the question has come to me many times: who is Carl Powell and where did he come from? Well, today we're going to answer that question because I have Carl Powell and, as added spice on the cake, Jennifer Frazier. And a lot of questions that you want to know about these two, we're going to answer in a few minutes. First of all, who is Carl Powell?
Who is Carl Powell? Carl Powell is a person who had major blessings very early in his life and got the opportunity to see the whole world and develop what I call an international perspective. And I always tell people, if you've never left this country, when you leave this country, you come back, you're changed. Mm-hmm. And so the travel really changed Carl Powell, and I came back as a much more compassionate person and a person who wants to volunteer, who wants to participate. So I think that what I learned abroad was when you participate and you participate in your community can't help but be better. So I came to Laurel to participate.
Okay. Jennifer, I had the question asked me just a couple of hours ago before I came on the show. They saw you talking on another show with Carl, and they said, "Who is that?" And I said, "That is Jennifer Frazier, and she does relationships." And they were quite impressed with you. Now, who is Jennifer Frazier?
Thank you for having me, Oliver. Well, you know, I'm a woman who is living out her purpose. That's what I see. I grew up in a family where I learned what a loving relationship looks like and really wanted to explore that more and learn how I can do that for myself and in turn help others. So that's one way that I show up in this world. I'm here to serve and help people not only find, you know, a healthy, nurturing relationship, but understand how they can live the life that they've always wanted to live. I'm here for myself as well as others to help them pull back all the limiting beliefs that may have surrounded their life and really how they can push forward now and really live the life that they want to live. This is the only life that we've got, and I'm here to show up and shine as bright as I can.
Great. Carl, I've heard you make mention to many things that you've done in your life and all the travels that you've done. But what led you to what you're doing now?
How did I get started? Yeah. When I was young, I was overweight. So all through my childhood, I was identified as the fat kid. Mm-hmm. And right before I graduated from high school, I lost a bunch of weight, and I moved to California to go to college. And when I got there, everybody was exercising. And so I just kind of got caught up in that 80s exercise craze. I ran and lifted weights, and I had a full-time job, mm-hmm. but I was so busy working out that one day they came to me and said, "Carl, you can go work out." So for the last 30 years, that's what I've done. I've been teaching exercise classes. Mm-hmm. And I think the reason why I'm successful at it is because I come from a place of compassion. I've been there before. Mm-hmm. I know what it feels like. I know the struggles that you have to go through. still, at this point in my life, I always still have to watch what I eat and watch my exercise program. And, and as we age, our needs become different. So what I'm loving right now is my clientele is aging with me. Mm-hmm. And so I'm learning how to work with them as I age, as they age.
Mm-hmm. What impresses me about the two of you is how well you work together. You can see television personalities on TV. They work together, but they're not together. You two seem to have a naturalness that comes through the camera. It transcends the set, comes through the camera, and the people actually, I know I feel it. So what do you attribute to your relationship?
Thank you, Oliver. Carl and I definitely have a chemistry, I feel, together. I believe that we're just coming from a genuine, authentic place. We've each had our own individual experiences, and now we're here to share that with everyone and let them know we've overcome certain things in our lives, and there are places and goals that we have that we're striving towards, and we're just like everyone else, but we're here to show you that no matter what you're going through, you can accomplish that. And I adore Carl, so it's a natural feeling, my feeling towards him.
And for me, Jennifer was a light. From the very second she walked into my studio, she walked in, she told me she signed up for classes, and I just saw her light. And from the very first minute, I knew that our relationship was going to be more than just exercise. And it even came to a point where she had stopped coming for a while. And I called her up and I said, Jennifer, I miss you. And I said, why don't you come in and exercise for a while for free, and I'll train you how to teach. And that's what she did. So she came in, she took classes for a while, and she learned how to teach. And so that was just my way of kind of pulling her into my fold. I knew I was going to be able to use her later on. So it just worked out perfect for us.
Well, Jennifer, I'm going to put you on the spot
Sure.
now. As a kid and as a young man and into my adulthood, I have had and still have a great respect for women. But it seems in this day and age, men, especially young men, are losing that respect for our women. Do you have any insight into that, why it's happening, or?
I do have some thoughts on that, and one is, I think people treat you how you treat yourself. You teach people how to treat you. And so on one side of it is, if the woman doesn't respect herself, then the man who comes along is not going to respect her either. Before I even became a relationship coach, I at one time didn't understand, my relationships. I was in relationships where I didn't feel good enough. I didn't feel loved and appreciated. When I was in a relationship with one man, I was, I was too heavy, and with another man, I'm not thin enough. There was always something going on. And what I discovered about myself, Oliver, is first I needed to love me. I needed to really respect me and have some standards of what I would accept in a relationship. So in turn, once I got to know and understand and love myself, I was able to project that confidence forward. And so it's a matter of first looking within yourself and understanding what you will and will not tolerate. There's no excuse for bad behavior. And if a man does approach you and they're not, showing that respect, don't stay with that, because understand that you're worth more. A lot of times women think there's just one guy and no one else is going to come along. There's billions of people on this planet, so you don't have to settle. And so it's learning to treat yourself with love and respect, and as a young man, treating that woman with love and respect. You have a mother. You may have sisters. How would you want a gentleman to treat you? And so it comes back to that individual looking within themselves. Who is it that you want to be in this world, and how can you show love to someone else? It's not about taking. It's a give and take relationship.
And Carl, I have great respect and amazement for you.
Thank you.
Because I know myself. If I have been in some of the situations that you mentioned, or I've personally seen you in right here in the studio, that I would jump all over the place, you know. But you don't ever seem to change demeanor. You always have that positive front. Now, I don't know whether you call it a higher power or a divine feeling or what, but you have it. How do you get to that point?
How did I get to that point? Experience. And experience taught me that when I screamed and yelled, that didn't work. So when I was in situations when I was confronted with something and I tried the screaming and yelling technique, it didn't help. And when I tried the escapism, I'm just going to ignore it and pretend like it didn't happen, that doesn't work. So through the experience of living and being in the moment, because most people aren't in the moment. They're either thinking about what happened yesterday or what they're going to do tomorrow. But I learned to live in the moment and then appreciate each moment that you get. I watch you, and I think, I respect you so much. And when I meet people with so much wisdom and people who actually really lived and lived through, you know, your cancer situation and a lot of raising your children, you've lived. And then when you tell me that you respect me, that helps me, that keeps me positive. Because then I think if, what did Maya Angelou say? She said that if you couldn't live your life in a way that if you bring joy to people, that when you mention my name to somebody else and they go, Carl, oh man, no, ooh, then you're not living your life the right way. But if someone mentions Carl and they go, oh, what a great guy, or I really like him, or he's really great, then you're doing the right thing. And I always want people to say, when they say, do you know Carl, to say, what a great guy. And a great example, Maggie Linton, she is the station manager for the book channel on XM Sirius. She went to a function in New York City, and she ran into Star Jones. And Star is a friend of mine, not like we call each other up and we talk all the time, but she's, you know, we've worked out together, we hung out together, we've had dinner together in groups with people. And she walked up to Star Jones and she said, we have a mutual friend. And she said my name to Star, and Star said, oh, Carl, what a great guy. And Maggie said the same thing, and she came back and she told me that, and I thought, I wouldn't even have expected her to know me by name. Maybe if she would have said the Pilates instructor, Carl Powell. But she said, I just mentioned your name, and her face lit up. And that's how you know you're living right. And that's what keeps me positive.
Okay, we're going to take a short break. But when we come back, we're going to talk about some more experiences, real life experiences that these two have had and overcome. We'll be right back.
We are all looking for peace in the world. We wonder where peace could hide. We don't know that peace is a prisoner whose freedom has been denied. We want to love our brothers, to love all men far and wide. Is when we learn to love ourselves that peace can no longer hide. The key to peace lies within. It's always been by our side. Learn to love from the inside out. Peace is a place inside.
All right, we're back, and I'm talking to my guests, Carl Powell and Jennifer Frazier. When we left, we had talked about some of the things that are happening in our generation. But, Carl, you're a fitness expert. You were not always a fitness expert because you said you were the little fat boy.
Exactly, right.
How did you get into this field of fitness?
It's interesting because I never really planned to be a fitness instructor. I went to the aerobics class every day, and one day the teacher didn't show up. And all the women said, well, you know the routine, why don't you teach it to us? So I taught the routine. And I finished the class, and all the ladies went out to the front desk and they said, we want Carl to teach this class. And I'm like, but I don't have any experience. So the studio where I was working actually sent me through and trained me and had me trained and got me certified so that I could actually teach at the studio. And I never, ever imagined that that's what I would do as my living for the rest of my life. I thought that was something I would do after work on the side. But as I developed in my career. There was a television show called Morning Stretch with Joni Greggins, and it was actually internationally syndicated. And you asked me this question once before. I was too dumb to be afraid. I had no idea. So when they came and they asked me to be a background person, I just said sure. You know, and so I went in, and the next thing I knew, I was getting calls from Japan and from China and, you know, England and Sweden, and people asking me, you know, can you come and train our instructors? And really, I had never done it before, but I thought, okay, I'll give it a try. What do I have to lose? And the more that I did it, of course, the more that I realized how much I loved it. But what I learned is the reason that I was well received by the people was I was coming from compassion. I didn't come in thinking I was better than you. I came in thinking I'm the same as you. And I think a lot of teachers in general come in often with the attitude, I know it all and you don't know anything, so you just sit back and you listen to me. So actually I learned on my feet, like I've done like on television, like I've done managing my studio. Everything that I've done in life I've learned to do on my feet, and I just have to tell people, fear not. Because the only thing to be afraid of is doing nothing at all. You know, because you can fail 100 times, but you can never fail or win if you never move, if you never do anything at all.
Jennifer, what led you into relationship training?
Sure. Well, having the background of being in a home where my parents have been married for over 35 years, I really got to see what a loving, healthy relationship looked like. And then even as I grew up being around my friends, I seemed to be the go-to person. Whenever people had questions about their relationships, they came to me, they asked me questions. And I was going through my own relationships on my own. But I found that I got to a point where the relationships that I were in, it wasn't very satisfying. I realized that I didn't really know myself. Like I said, I went from relationship to relationship, and I, you know, felt that I wasn't enough. You know, I wasn't skinny enough. I wasn't smart enough. I wasn't this enough. I wasn't that enough. And so I really had to look within myself and really figure out, gosh, there's got to be a better way to date, because, you know, I'm really looking for a life partner. And with all the relationships that I've been in, yes, I've learned a lot about myself, but it took me a long time to figure out that this wasn't the right relationship for me. And so I just began researching and looking to see, reading books on relationships, everything I could get my hands on. At the same time as that was going on, you know, I was in a job where I wasn't happy. And I realized every day that I went to work, I was just miserable. I couldn't wait to leave. You know, I worked the long hours and just didn't feel any joy and satisfaction. And it got to a point where it felt like my life was just going nowhere. I mean, I was just miserable all the time. And so again, I had to look inside myself and figure out, well, what would I love to do? What is something that I enjoy? What would I do for free? Even if I never got paid for it, what is it that I enjoyed? And so I realized that I really loved looking at relationships, you know, talking to people about relationships. I spent all the time talking with my friends about relationships. There's got to be something more to this. And I got an opportunity to go to a workshop, to go to a love workshop on how to attract your soulmate and really learn how to be confident within myself. And so as I began to do more of those workshops and read more of those books, I learned that I can be trained as a relationship coach. There's actually an institute that trains relationship coaches. So that's what I did, Oliver. I became certified through an institute, which is the first largest international training institute for relationship coaches. And I got my training. So the things that I speak about, it isn't just from the experience that I have. Like, I have practical information that I use. And so now my life has done a complete 180. I'm now doing what I love each and every day. I wake up with a smile on my face. I'm happy to work with my clients. I enjoy working with them. And I'm also a stronger, confident person. Now when I'm dating, now when I'm in relationships, I actually show up. I voice who I am. You know, I know so much more about myself that I'm not willing to settle anymore. because I am in the process of attracting that right love, that right partner. And I know that I have all the tools and I have the steps to do that.
Now, we're different people, different genders, different backgrounds, and we have different needs for a relationship. But there are basics in a relationship. So this can come from either one of you. What are the basics that you would look for in a thriving, loving, moving forward kind of relationship?
One important component of a healthy relationship is having a shared vision. You know, understanding what you want for your life and what you want for your life together. Because so many times you hear that, oh, we just grew apart, we don't want the same things anymore. And so what I understand is it's important for both of you to sit down first and figure it out for yourself. You know, where do you see your life? What does your life look like? Does your life include children? Because that's another important component, if whether or not you want children. You don't want to spend time dating a person who doesn't want children because your life is not going in the same direction. So really understanding what your vision is for your life and then for your relationship. When you think about your partner, what is it that you want to be doing? You know, how do you want to be spending your time together? What do you want to bring to the table? That's an important key to having a healthy relationship.
I think in relationship, what I've learned is that you have to have mutual attraction is extremely important. And you have to have the capability of communication. And a lot of times I think it's just a communication breakdown. The relationship I was in before my last relationship, the one thing that we did every single night before we went to sleep, no matter what happened during the day, is we kissed each other and we said, I love you. And when I woke up in the morning, I still felt in love. And it helped me alleviate and break down and forget about all of the things that bothered me yesterday, or you dropped the pan on the floor, or you didn't sweep the floor, or you didn't put the dishes in the sink. Because those are the very little things that really don't matter. And when you get to love, for me personally, you have to go to what really matters to you. And what really matters to me is that I feel loved, that I trust you, that I know that your intention for me is the best of intentions, and I have the same for you. My regard for you is just as high as your regard for me. Like I watch you and Miss Ernestine, and you two argue a little bit.
A little.
But what's beautiful about it is it lasts more than 5 minutes, and that's what people forget about. You don't have 2 days to fight. You know, because that might be the last 2 days you spent together. And is that how you really wanted to spend it, arguing and bickering? No. So you have to learn how to limit your arguments down to just the necessary amount of time. You get your point across and turn the volume down. Because once the volume goes up, no one's listening, and then there's no point in even having the conversation.
Yeah, it's about having that mutual respect for each other, you know, no matter what, treating each other with love and kindness and compassion, and understanding that, you know, I don't not only love you, but I also like you as a person.
Right.
You know, you are my friend. Friendship is the foundation for any healthy, loving relationship. And at the end of the day, I want to be able to turn to my partner and say, you know what, I like you. You are my friend. You're my best friend.
You know, and you mentioned Ernestine and I, we've been married for 43 years. And out of the many, many things that I'm proud of in our relationship, one of the things is that I have never struck her, and I have never called her out of her name.
Yeah, that mutual respect.
Yes. Carl, you mentioned travel, the many places you've been, and situations and travels. Every situation we've been in, every place we've been in, we should draw something from that. From that place or from that situation that makes us grow. Take us on a short international trip and tell us some of the interesting places that you were at that contributed mostly to your growth.
Okay. Well, I'll start with the Germany story because I had no intention of moving to Europe and staying there. A friend of mine got a 6-month gig with QVC Germany, and I thought, okay, she said she couldn't do it. I'll take the gig, I'll go there for 6 months, and I'll come home. But when I got there, Germany really changed me because German people move in a straight line. If you see a German person in line at the bank, you would never think of trying to cut in front of the person in line or get around them or race them to the counter. Everybody moves in line. On the Autobahn, unless you're in the fast lane and you're going slow, everyone moves in line. When you go to merge into traffic, the person behind you allows you to merge into traffic. And I learned as Americans, we tend to always want to be the exception to the rule. You know, don't you know who I am? I'm the exception to the rule. Where in Germany, that would have been considered completely rude.
There's a sense of entitlement.
Right, exactly.
Americans have.
And then as I started to travel through Germany and I started learning German, I realized the importance of going to another country and respecting them, because Americans go to other countries like it's Disneyland. So what I mean by Disneyland is they go and they're like pointing at the people like they're like characters. And I'll never forget, I was at a train station and a woman said to her friend, see, we're at the Hauptbahnhof. So when we get back, we want to come back to the Hauptbahnhof. But Hauptbahnhof simply means train station. So every train station she was going to go to was going to say Hauptbahnhof. And I almost answered her, and then I thought, you know what? Let her learn for herself. I mean, when I was in Sweden, there was a woman who wanted a drink with ice. If you even stop to consider it, ice is ice in almost every single language. She said, I want my drink on the rocks. And when the guy didn't understand, she said, on the rocks. Like that was going to make a big difference. So I think that what I learned through my travels is when you go to another country and you respect their customs, learn a few words, learn about the city that you're going to. Don't go there like it's Disneyland. Go there like it's real people. And it really, I think the most important, go to the cafes where people really hang out. Try to get off of the beaten path, because that's where I've learned the most.
Well, I think we've learned a little bit about Carl Powell and Jennifer Fraser today, but don't feel comfortable. We will be back. But before we go, in talking with you, I think you're both right now in a comfortable place. There are problems, you know, there are needs and things that you would like to see, maybe a little bit different. But where do you go from here? Jennifer?
Wow. I keep going forward. I want to be able to continue to show up in my life. I'm learning how to even greater dissolve the things that have kept me back. And so I want to continue to show up and serve my clients and really spread this message all over the world about loving yourself, respecting yourself first. And as you do so, you're able to attract, the things that you desire in your life. So I boldly go forth and just want to be available and be a resource for others so that they know that I'm here for them and I'm here to help them and support them in any way that I can.
Important to me is I want to have a voice. I've learned in life that you can change things when you have a voice. The reason that I came to City Hall in the first place is because I wanted to have a voice in Laurel. And I realized that it wasn't just about getting people to come to my exercise studio and work out with me, but realizing the importance of health and the importance of, as we age, how much more important taking care of your body is. When you're young, you bounce back easy. When I was 25, I could exercise, go out, drink all night, wake back up and run 10 miles. But I can't do that at 50 and almost 51.
Wow.
Oh no. But I believe that when you have a voice, you can change things. And I watch people who go on television and they have negative voices. I see so many of the reality shows that just are ridiculous. What was the one we saw about the nails? Yeah. But I just think that there is room out there for a positive voice, and I think there's a room out there to teach people to improve themselves because they want to improve themselves, not because someone on television is preaching to you that you need to be this size, you need to eat this food, you need to, you know, go out and buy these vitamins. No, I want to have a voice that says to people, stop, get quiet, and listen to the whispers, because the whispers are telling you something, they're talking to you all the time. So yeah, I'm just trying to increase my voice, even though I think it's pretty loud to start with.
Okay. Speaking of a positive voice, let's close this show with the Magnificent Living Today's motto. What is that motto?
It's either I am magnificent, I am powerful, and then we want to empower each other. So you say, you are magnificent, you are powerful.
Okay.
So can we say it to them?
To them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll tell them, you are magnificent.
You are powerful.
You are magnificent.
You are powerful. And so are both of you. Thanks so much for having us, Oliver. I really
Thank you,
appreciate
Oliver.
that.
Thank
This
you
is
for being here.
wonderful.
That's our show for today, but I'll be back.
And I'll be
I
back.
hope you will too.
What lies behind us and what lies ahead of us pales when compared to what lies inside of us. Ralph Waldo Emerson.